Welcome everyone to Overcome Podcast. In today's episode, I have great guests from the Holy Land, Israel, Amir Boaron and Tomer, which I will not try your last name, but you can say your last name.
Tomer Alroy. That's what we do.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining. And I have a lot of questions about uh, not only jiu-jitsu but sport in general, because I know that you were at least the coach of the year in 2018, 2021, and 2022. And now I'm gonna start with you, since you have such a vast background. When you are training your athletes, we all know that jiu-jitsu is not everything. There is a lot of mindset involved and the psychological aspect for the athlete. So when you are working with athletes, what are some of the attributes that you are looking for in an athlete?
I think the things in the national team in Israel that we start very young with the guys. We start with the athlete in 10, 12 years old. We start to put them in competition like 4, 5, 6 times per year. And we start to work about the mentality. So we have a program about we start from young age to juvenile, and after this to 21, and after this to adult. And in the national team, we work a lot with a lot of coach, not only jiu-jitsu coach. So we have every how do we say this, Tomer? Every כל מקצוע,
We have a coach for every profession.
every professional. So we have many guys to work with the kids until they start to be adult. So after we work so many years with the guy until he come adult, we put him so strong that he can compete like every week, and he gonna bring results in the national team. In the beginning, it start to be hard, but now we are after 15 years already. The team is very strong now.
That's nice. So you see competition as something extremely important for your athletes to compete all year long, or you like, for example, white belts? Do they compete although from the beginning or as a white belt, or you wait until they are at least blue belt to start competing?
I think for kids, when you start to compete on kids, and after this you start to be adult, you don't have the feeling. If you go like you take one guy like 25 years, he start to train like 6 months, and you put him to compete, he's gonna be a lot of nervous.
Hmm.
He's gonna scare. He's gonna go every minute to the toilet. He start to talk about the competition 3 days before. He don't sleep. But if you take a kid like 6, 7, 10, 12 years old, and he compete a lot, and when he come adult, he don't feel the
Yeah,
pressure.
that's a good.
He feel like he is in home.
Hmm.
So after this, the results will come. Because if the athlete will fight the same like he train, the results come.
That's a great point. Tomer, do you train only kids, or do you also train adults, like people that start jiu-jitsu late in life, right? Because of course the ideal scenario is you start as a kid, but what about the masters? Do you also train masters
In our national team or in our
in your
gym.
gym?
That's the in the gym. Yes, of course. We have two. We basically split the gym into three main groups. We have the first group that is the national team competition training. You have some masters that come here and train, but this class is primarily focused for the national team, the professionals. Then we have the beginner class, the fundamental class, and then the advanced class. So in the advanced class, you have the upper belts, but you also have the masters that are, you can say, started late and then transition into the competition. And we kind of have a big team. We kind of have a masters that like to compete. Of masters, of course, it's harder to, um, to gather a lot of masters to compete, just because they have so much more involved in their life. They have families, they have their job. Sometimes the risk is not worth it. If they get injured in training, that can hurt their job, can hurt their family time.
Yeah.
Um, so you have to find this balance where you want to push them to train more for the competition, but not but never compare them into the demands that we have for the national for the professional national team, because there are completely two separate groups. If the national team trained 14 times per week, then a good master that competes for fun like an amateur, um, he should still train as a professional, but 6 times per week, maybe 8 times per week if he had more time. But going more than 6 times can be a bit hard for if you um, you know uh, revolve around your job and your family time and all that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And Amit, you were talking about nervous. Even though, because I talk with a lot of jiu-jitsu coaches in the past, and even with professional athletes, and they said, well, you get used to the adrenaline and everything, but you still get a little bit nervous. Do you also feel that? Do you feel like even though you've done this many times, you still get some nervous before a fight?
If you don't feel this, you need to quit because you don't care.
Yeah,
You
that's a
don't care.
great.
It's real. If you don't feel the nervous, you must to feel. If not, you must to quit because I talk with many guys, not only in jiu-jitsu, who compete, in many competition, and they say when they don't have this feeling, this is the time to quit because
Wow.
the feeling is the things who push you to do the best in the fight. So you must to feel this. Not the feel need to give you motivation, not fear to kill you. So it's two different. If you have a little bit pressure before the fight and it give you motivation to win, you need this. You need to take the pressure to the good place. This is what I think.
No, yeah,
It's
you
nice.
yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah, it's I heard about that if you don't care, you don't feel anything, and that's a bad feeling as well. But you cannot allow the nervous to take control of your mind because then you're gonna make more mistakes, right?
Sure. You have guys that you see a white belt to compete and you see the fear and the nervous. Don't give him to fight. In the gym, he can be very good white belt or blue belt, and when he come to the competition, he even don't listen to the coach. The coach can talk, but the guy don't listen. And after the fight, he said, "I don't remember nothing, nothing. I remember Tomer. You remember when Ben Cohen fight in a white belt? He tell me,
Yes.
Amir, I don't remember nothing, nothing. I go to the triangle, I tap, and I go out. And this is happen when a old guys like a adult start to train late and compete. This is happen. But if you even if you are 21, 24 and start to compete, and you compete a lot, it's gonna pass, and the pressure will be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I asked those questions because I started jiu-jitsu after 40s. So to me, it was really crazy when I compete for the first time. The nerves were really bad, and it's still bad, but I'm getting a little bit better. But it's an ongoing struggle because, as Tomer said, we cannot go full in to avoid injuries, and I got injury already a lot of times. Had two surgeries because of injuries in jiu-jitsu. So I understand how hard it is to try to push yourself after the age of 40. The recovery is not the same.
Sure. And I think after you compete a lot, you know what to do before the fight to don't give you nervous. Some guys love music. The other guy love to do yoga. The other guy love to warm up. I know guys who like to roll. Take another guy and rolling. I know one guy of my team. He don't like to do warm up. He put the music seat. The guy call him. He come to the fight. So after you have experience, you know what to do before the fight.
That's yeah. Each person is a
You
different.
what you like to do before the fight?
I like to stay quiet, isolated. you know, uh, I try many things. I try listen to music. I try other things, but it feels like the what really works for me is just to stay isolated in the corner and think about what's gonna happen, what I'm gonna do. Trying to rehearse my game plan, which of course you have a game plan until something happens and everything goes away.
Or the other guy is better than you.
Yeah.
So even if you do everything correct, sometimes you lose.
Yes. And that's the other thing, right? That I also learned with Jiu-Jitsu is that once you start incorporating the mindset that you never lose, you either win or you learn, it starts to feel more progressive, right? And I think that this is an important lesson because most of my big lessons were when I lost, and I think you all agree with that, right?
Yeah, 100%. Tom and I have, I think, a lot of things to talk about this.
Yeah, I think when when you win, everything is not right, and when you lose, everything is not worse. Not everything is worse. You know, you can fix even if you win, you can have some stuff to fix about your game, about the way you fight, about the way you felt during or before the fight. And when you lose, everything, not everything is black. You can find some good ways that okay, like I executed my game plan, but the guy was better than me, so I need to fix my guard retention or whatever happened in that fight.
But do you
So
also agree that the biggest lessons are usually learned when you lose?
I mean, I just still think you can learn from both, right?
Well, yeah,
No,
I
yeah,
agree. I'm just saying that as a human, when we win, rarely you go back and revisit the reasons why you won. You're like, oh, I won. So it can also be a double sword because some people win when they win too much, they become cocky. They start to think that they can always win, and they stop improving,
of course.
right?
That's what I'm saying. You can say the same thing when you lose all the time, and you say like I don't know anything.
Right. Yeah.
So why should I even do it? And when you win, you can look at like, yeah, I submitted the guy, but I could have submitted him like 5 minutes before because he gave me a ton of options and I didn't capitalize that. Or like I won by submission, but I did many mistakes trying to pass his guard. So I need to fix that. I was better than him, so I eventually won the fight, but I could have won. When you change your mindset into performance-based goal, then achievement-based goal, then that's where you spike your performance. Instead of looking at it as like I won a medal or I won gold medal, you should look at your performance, how you fought to get that medal. Like I can win a fight by stalling and winning maybe by a penalty or like an advantage, or I can focus on being dominated. It's not easy to be dominating. Um, but like recently, like you can see what happened this weekend at the IBJJF in the Europeans.
Hmm.
Mikhail Gavarov submitted all of his
Yeah.
fights, right? And I'm sure that his coach will study his matches and maybe identify some mistake that he did that they can fix from this run in the Europeans, right? But he can look at these fights and say like, oh, okay, I won everything, I submitted everyone, there's nothing else I need to do, or focusing on being, like the goat,
Hmm.
you know.
No, yeah, that's a great point. Focus on performance rather than just the results. And this continuous improvement also applies when you win. Now
Yes.
changing a little bit of a subject and going to physical performance as a whole, because that's the other thing, right? That I've seen some guys they train well and they do really well, but when it comes to competition, they sometimes they gas out really fast, and I understand that sometimes it's the adrenaline, and they are not able to measure the gas and everything. uh, I always ask this question, and usually the answer is the same. But how do you improve your gas in jiu-jitsu?
Tomer, you want to talk about this?
So, I mean, usually in the competition, everyone, like 90% of the people have gas. They just exceeded or put too much effort too fast, or they let the feeling of running out of gas take over. So you can get anyone tired in 30 seconds
True.
if you want
Yeah.
to, even 15 seconds. So it's two different questions, like how can you improve your cardio,
Mm-hmm.
or how you can improve your let's say like performance in the competition. Because for cardio improvement, then it's the basic stuff that works. Doing incorporating weightlifting, conditioning training, aerobic training, doing either running, bicycle, um, or swimming. Whatever you find more comfortable for you, that you connect more. Of course, you should do more jujitsu.
Yeah. More rows. More
Uh,
rows.
Yes, because the same role, that's the biggest problem when you try to measure your capacity in jiu-jitsu, is you can do the same 5-minute roll and you can gas yourself out in the first minute because you keep pushing the pace, or you can just try to stay stable and negate the other opponent game, and you can last 5 minutes. But it will be the same guy and it's still 5 minutes. So um, for professional athletes, I would just work with the professional coach to improve their cardio. And for competition wise, I would do a lot of specific training.
Mm.
You know, if I want to improve my aggressiveness, then I will do some short rounds with we call it like a losing scenario, where you're down by 2 points and you have to get your sweep in like 2 minutes, and then maybe pass the guard, like try to win the fight under 2 minutes when you're down by 2 points and you're in your guard. Or the same on top, like try to win the fight when you're down by 2 minutes by 2 points and you need to pass the other guy's guard. So you're gonna get tired out of it. You're gonna finish those 2 minutes dead,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But your mind, you learn how to keep pushing that pace. And on the other side of that corner, you improve your aerobic capacity in the gym, or in just doing more training.
Yeah, this scenario, this type of scenario-based training is really, really good. As you said, you can easily guess in, in 2 minutes if you keep the pace
Yes,
at 110% all the time. Yeah,
exactly.
that's a good point. I mean,
And you
But
can
I
tell
think
yourself to
I
learn
think
how to.
already about the cardio is the experience too. You can see the black belt, or you can see a blue or white belt, or purple belt even. In a black belt, they know how to use the cardio to hold the fight, even if it's a 10 minutes. They know how to control the fight, and the guys don't finish. But if you go to white or blue or purple, sometimes they die after five, 2 or 3 minutes. Even this, you need experience.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true, and this it only comes with time. Of course, some people are gifted to have a really good gas and physical condition, but I think that a lot of this, as you said, comes with experience. How can I save gas and how can I control my breath? I mean, I remember Hickson Grace always talk about how you breathe correctly for jiu-jitsu, right? So I think that that's another very important point.
Yeah,
and you have and you have people very smart in a fight. They know where to put the pressure if they see submission, so they go with all the power. And after the sweep, they hold the fight, give to the time go, control with the lapel, and this is experience. 100 time is experience. So I think even today you see in a 10 minutes in IBJJF is not easy if the guy need to do 4 or 5 mats, 10 minutes, and if you don't submit the guy, you need to know how to be smart. It's very hard. And I see today a lot of fight, the guy don't submit, they go to the points, and he do one fight, and after this he do another one, and they have guys.
Yep. Israel is also well known by the great judo team. Israel judo team is amazing. They always do well on the Olympics and on the Grand Slams international. Um, do you guys emphasize takedowns? Do you incorporate any type of judo training with the jiu-jitsu?
Yes, Owen Smajad is my friend, and Shani Ershko. We do a lot of things together. The guy is the athlete of the judo, work with the athlete of the jiu-jitsu. We train together. Sometimes we bring guys to help each other. We meeting. We do a plan together. The judo is an amazing team, and we see a lot of good things in the judo, and we take from them. And even the judo, I think, is only the beginning. I think in few years, you see amazing judo team and amazing jiu-jitsu team.
Yeah, and
What do you
I'm pretty
think
sure
about?
that you also cross training, right? Like judo guys go to jiu-jitsu to do newaza specific training on the ground, right?
Yes, 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 yes. We have a lot of. They use a jiu-jitsu guy to teach them enawaza, and when we take a lot of guys from judo to teach us a takedown for jiu-jitsu, because we use good things for jiu-jitsu, not all the takedown. You have some takedown that you cannot use.
The,
You give the
right.
back, or it's not good for the. But yes, we do a lot of things together. The judo team is amazing, and I believe in this Olympic in Paris they're gonna bring 4 or 5 medals.
Yeah, I agree. You know, there is a lot of great players on the Israeli team for sure. Um, and that brings another point, which is a lot of people have different opinions about, which is pull guard. Are you guys against pull guard, or pull guard is okay?
Mhm. I think Tomer, now you need to talk about the UWW.
Yeah, I mean, we compete in a federation that is under the wrestling federation, under the United World Wrestling. It's a grappling. They have a grappling section, and the rules are pretty much the same for the wrestling, but they adapt a bit. They adapt the rules a little bit for jiu-jitsu. So, for example, anytime your back is on the mat, it's 2 points. So if you pull guard, it's 2 points,
Oh,
right? But let's say if I reverse the position from mount, let's say you mount on me, you get 4 points. But if I bridge and sweep you to close guard, it's 2 points for me, right? For example, or
so
if you have
what
side
you're
control,
saying is that you cannot pull guard then?
you can, but you give up 2 points.
Okay. Yeah, well, you should
Okay.
not actually, because you're gonna lose 2 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but your back should be on the mat. So if you sit, there's no two
Oh, okay.
points.
Okay.
Right? If you have a seated guard. But the moment you flip me on my back, it's 2 points. So, or if I let's say like do a sit up guard, but then pull to single leg X, then it will be 2 points if I stay down for 3 seconds. The point is that and they allow reap and they allow heel hooks now, so it's a little bit more interesting. The fight looks much different because of that. Because you're if you do pull guard, then you're down by points. And if the guy on top is not initiating any passing attempts, then he will get penalties, and those penalties are points. So one penalty is 1 point for me. So two penalties were basically even. And then if I sweep, I win or whatever. So the fights are 5 minutes in those circle wrestling matches. Um, and if you get out of bounds, then it's 1 point for the guy who pushes you out of bounds. So there's a lot of action. So it looks way more
So,
interesting and it forces.
aside from this rule set, what is your general opinion about pull guard? Do you see value from when you are training your athletes? Do you encourage them to do pull guard, or you always encourage them to take down?
That's the thing. It's like, it shouldn't be one-sided, right? Because there's strategies involved, right? You have to understand the rules. The rules for now, for most federation, the emphasis will be on the guy who pulled guard or the guy who did the first points. So, um, for example, if you take me down, then you have, or if you started the match by winning by 2 points because you took me down, then you have much higher chance to win the fight. The ball is in your favor. But when I pull guard, if I manage to pull guard before you, then statistically I have a bit more chances to win. That's why you see more people trying to pull guard. That's why you see more people trying to win those double pull battles because they know that the guy on bottom can use his guard to sweep or to submit or to take the back, right? He has a bit more options. When the guy's on top, he can only pass or take the back.
Right.
Maybe jump on a submission, but
So
still like
what you're saying is that you analyze case by case. You don't have like a preference?
no. I would like say bigger people, then I would tell them to probably try to take down. right? But if you have a big guy who has a really good guard, I will tell him to sweep. I will tell him to pull guard and sweep
Mm-hmm.
because you don't see a lot of, bigger guy with the good guard, or a flexible guard or like a aggressive guard,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't see a lot of like Victor Hugo people who has really flexible yet a lot of aggressive close guard,
Right.
right? That's why he's dominating, from bottom. Um, but for the smaller guys, telling them not to pull guard is like kind of anti.
Counterproductive.
They're yeah,
Counterproductive. Yeah.
counterproductive. You have to learn both, right? But nowadays you have to learn both. You have to be good on bottom, and you also have to be good on top. But you see more and more people adapting wrestling, so they pull guard and try to wrestle up.
That's a good point.
I think if you have a double pull, the guy who stand up need to have at least 1 point.
Of course, you have to change. There's a lot of changes for the rules that you should do.
I believe in IBJJF you need to cut the time to 5 minutes, and you can rip the leg. I don't talk about Ilux in the key, but I think you can rip the leg. And if they do double pull and you stand up is 1 point, and you cannot have a referee decision. You need a gold time, golden score. You cannot have a referee decision. Referee decision is all the time problem.
Yeah.
So this is my this is
That's an
what I
interesting
think, and
point.
it's gonna be it's gonna be more nice for the TV because you want the sport not only for jiu-jitsu guys. You want a lot of people see the jiu-jitsu. So if you put 10 minutes and a double pull, nobody care about the sport. Understand?
Well, that's one of the reasons why I think that judo has a way more dynamic rule set because it's action all the time, short period of time, action. You really cannot stall that much because you're gonna get a shido penalty. And jiu-jitsu, you do have a chance to stall way more. I mean, if you are on mount, you can stay there the whole day, and there is not even a stall because you can just hold it there, right? So I think that that's why it's judo is more appealing for a non-judo practitioner because they at least know what's going on and they can kind of understand.
If you talk about IBJJF, but if you talk about ADCC or UWW or even JJIF, the rules is different, and they change the rule to 5 minutes and more action and more penalty, and you don't have a referee decision. I think it is the problem the IBJJF. I think they need to change the rules, but they think like the 19 you need to do the fight 10 minutes, and it's very hard to see a game after game 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You need 4 5 minutes and you have more action.
And sometimes that's what you see. You see in a 10 minutes fight, you see the first 5 minutes nothing happens. Just those two guys studying each other, and then on the last 5 minutes you start to see some actions. And actually sometimes even on the last 2 minutes you start to see action because they go 50-50 all the time until the end.
Yeah, I right with you.
Yeah. That's great. I know that the focus is more on kids going up to adults and everything, but at your gym, Amir, do you also train regular folks that just want to do recreational jiu-jitsu and want to get better?
Sure. I have every morning. I have a class in the morning for regular people who come. You have one is a lawyer, the other guy is a soldier, the other guy he work in the computer, and the other guy is a pilot. And we train together easy, and we do jiu-jitsu for fun, and everybody enjoy. And in the evening we have a class the same in the end of the day, and I have a lot of guys who do for fun jiu-jitsu. But I tell even to this guy, I tell them all the time, one time you need to put you in competition because you must to feel the pressure. Even this guy who come for fun, I push them to do one competition. So 19% of my gym compete at least one time.
But it's not
You can ask
it's
Tomer.
not a prerequisite, right? You probably have someone there that says, "I don't want to compete," and
Yeah, you have people who don't compete, but 90% yes, 10 people who don't want. I don't push too much. You must ask Tomer the first time how I put Tomer to competition. This is a funny story.
Tell me, Tom, about that. How was that?
Yeah, so I was training abroad. I was training in Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket, Thailand. I did some MMA and some Jiu-Jitsu and some, a bit of everything. And when I came back after a few months in Thailand, then Amir asked me like, why wouldn't I compete? And I just told him because I don't want to. I don't like, I don't. I never competed. I don't think I should, and all that excuses. And then he just told me about this small competition that they held in Cyprus with like one fight. He told me like I was a purple belt back then, so he told me you're gonna have like one fight, and then we're gonna go out, party, do some jet ski, do some water sport, just the competition will be like 5 minutes. So why do you care? It's like a 1 hour away and all that. I don't know how, but he kind of like convinced me. I said like like, fuck it, let's go, let's try it and all that. What I didn't know is that he already talked with my dad to buy me the ticket for the competition before I even said yes. So like even if I said no, I wouldn't have any choice. So he gave him permission to just get me the ticket. And I had like three fights. I
Oh, it
didn't have
was
one
not
fight.
just one; it was three.
I won gold at the end of the day, but it was a good experience. Not because I won, because everything it changed my
Well,
perspective
but
on
that's
on
the,
competition.
now the key question. When you got there and you saw that you had three fights, did you get nervous?
Well, again, like Amir said before, like you always get
Right, but
nervous,
you were
even
not expecting. You were like, "Holy shit, I have actually three." So you got a little bit.
I I remember what I told myself back then is like because I was after my army service, I told myself that I did so many things during my army service, and so I shouldn't get too scared or too nervous from fighting a match in a competition, with rules, that worst case you tap. That's what I told myself back then. Like,
That's a great point. That's a
when,
great point, man. I mean, if you guys have a huge advantage of going to army and seeing things that many people across the globe are not able to handle. So competition should not
yeah,
really be a reason to be nervous. That's absolutely true.
But nobody
yes,
like to lose.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Then when you get better, at the end of the day, you just have to find your motivation, your inner motivation, and being um, you, uh, like loving the opportunity, being thankful for the opportunity to fight, instead of like why I need to fight or I must win.
Yeah.
It's a two different
I
approaches.
think that this is such a great point. Try to enjoy the moment. I remember that I went to my first Master Wars last year in Las Vegas, and I really didn't enjoy because I was so nervous that I really didn't like it, and I lost the opportunity to enjoy the moment, and I will never forget about that.
Especially when you're
But
doing
Yuri, I
mastery.
think before a big competition like World
No,
Master,
that was my
you
first
need
one.
to do that. Your first one in the
No, no,
World
the first World
Master.
Master. I've done Dallas Open, I've done Oklahoma, I've done
Ah,
other IBJJFs, but this was my first World Master.
mm,
I
okay.
just I
So,
was
so I think you need to do some small competition before one big competition.
yeah. I needed to I need to compete more leading to the World Master. That's what I need to do because I did Dallas last year. I think it was March, and then I did a big interval, and then the Masters in August. So it was a big interval between one and the other. I think that also was a problem. But
You you lose the first one in the World Master.
oh yeah, it was the first fight I was out. Yeah.
You remember something from the fight, or you don't
No, I
remember?
remember it was a huge mistake that I made, and that was enough. So yeah,
So we have this year.
yeah. Well, that is how,
Mhm.
as my professor told me when we left this stage, he said, "Don't worry, Yuri. Every year this championship is here. So next year you come back. That's it." Don't worry about it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the other thing that I think is important. I really I appreciate a lot my Professor Machado. He doesn't put a lot of pressure to win. He actually does exactly the opposite. He says to me many times, "Don't put pressure on yourself. Enjoy this. That's you should be thankful to be here and doing this. And if you win, it's great. But if you don't win, it's okay. Learn. You know.
I agree with him 100%. I think, especially with masters and the people who come to fun, they need to enjoy. So all the time you need to put in your mind how many people, the regular people, put him to compete in something, even in soccer, even I don't know, in basketball. How many people? So after you think about this, you understand that you need to enjoy every moment. And and after the competition, all the time I remember when I compete a lot, every competition that I finish, I want to compete another one. And this is the good time that you need to put yourself to enjoy with the flight, with the hotel, with your friends. All the time take a good people with you. If the coach is with you, it's better. And to do the maximum with the competition.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good lifestyle.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. Now, changing a little bit here, we talk about game plan, strategy, physical condition. Now, let's talk a little bit about nutrition. Um, I've been in Israel 5 times. I love the food, and I think that that's one of the reasons why you don't see a lot of fat people in Israel like you see in US. Is because of the great foundation of food. The food is very healthy. Do you have a special type of nutrition plan, or since everyone eats very healthy, you don't really have problems with that?
Tomer, you want to talk about the guy?
I mean, our team, we usually work with a nutritionist. So he gave everyone their um, I mean, their eating schedule or their nutrition that according to what they prefer. So he kind of like adapts. I don't think there's one solution to a nutrition. So a lot of people try to find like this secret formula or like this secret diet that will help them eat whatever they want to and still lose weight and all that stuff. So when you choose the diet, I think you should focus on um, how you can maintain it for a long time, personal preferences, and 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 consistency. So let's say if your working schedule, like I know a lot of people that do the like intermediate fasting, the 16/8,
Hmm.
um, but their schedule doesn't allow them to do that. So maybe they finish working really late and they don't get to eat until let's say 11 p.m. 11 p.m. So then they should start eating at around like 2 or 3 p.m. The day after, and it's like insane to do. Not insane, but it's really hard to
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
They do like almost like half of their day without eating, so it's really hard to adapt that into their lifestyle. And then they break and they go like really off limits when they stop doing that diet. Nothing against the 16/8. I did that when I competed. Emil does that as well, but that works for us. That maybe it's not going to work for other
yeah.
people.
No, I think
Um,
that the best point you made is about nutritional plan is very individual. As you said, it works for you, it works for Amir, but it may not work for someone else. So you have to find what really works for you. I cannot do intermittent fast. I like eating,
exactly.
and I like to eat 6 times a day, 3 hour, 3 meal, 1 meal every 3 hours. It just my body works better that way. And
And especially in Israel, the most of our meetings and our lifestyle is revolves around food.
yeah,
So you don't want to be that guy who never eats lunch with everybody because he needs to start eating at around four,
yeah,
you know, or not eating dinner with everybody because you need to stop eating by 8 p.m. Um, But yeah, same goes with like eating sweets or whatever. Like some people need to add those sweets in their diet just to kind of stay mentally sane. So there's no right or wrong with like, of course, like if you do like 100% healthy, then you wouldn't add some stuff like that. But there's sustainability that should be added to the mix when you choose your
Yep.
nutrition.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And your take on weight cut leading to the competition. You try to stay the same weight all year long, or you gain some weight and then you cut for competition? What is usually your strategy?
It depends about the competition. You have a competition that is the men's set, like a world or European, and if the weight is one day before, so 24 hours before, so you can cut. And in Israel, because we fight for the national team, so we need points. So if the guy fight 77, so all the men competition he need to do in
Hmm.
77, and he must to be almost all the year in diet. So if he's 85, so he need to be 2 weeks before the fight 80, and to cut 2 or 3 kilo, like sauna or running or sweating. And if it's not important competition like IBJJF for us, it's not so important. So you can fight 85 medium heavy, no problem for us. So it depends what is the main goal for my guys.
Yeah, and IBJJF has another challenge, right? Because you have to wait in right before you go to the fight, which is really
Yeah,
complicated. Because if you go to this mindset of cutting until the last day, then you get to the mat completely tired, no strength, you're just debilitated.
yeah. We do this when we was young. Some I remember one competition in Germany with Tomer. He do a gi, and after this he need to cut 1 or 2 kilo for the nogi,
Yeah,
Tomer.
1.5 had to like
One and a
around
half.
eight
So
and a half
he
pounds.
he need to run to the sauna to cut the weight and come back to wait for the nogi. So it's
No,
crazy.
yeah, that's
I in the time I start to understand that you don't need to cut weight if it's the same day. You kill your body and your performance is not gonna be good. I believe you need to do diet to live good. Not to put shit in your body, but you need to fight. If you are 85 kilo, fight medium heavy. Don't cut to middle.
that's really good. You just basically stay on your weight class all year long, and you have a regular diet and everything. I think that's way more healthy than keep going up and down, cutting up and down, because that's not good.
It's not good, and you see when the even UFC guys, when they cut a lot of weight all the years, when they're gone tired, you're gonna see after this 20, 25 kilo more. You see a fat people, not athlete, even a big champion. So the cutting weight kill the body.
True, true. Now, the question that a lot of people asked me when I went to Israel, and I didn't do it because I of course, I trained jiu-jitsu when I was there. But they always ask me, Yuri, this Krav Maga thing from Israel really works? Do you think jiu-jitsu and Krav Maga, which one is better? And I couldn't really answer that question because I was like, I think that they are different situations. You may apply one over the other, right? That's my take. But what is your take about that? I mean, Krav Maga is so well known to be effective in Israel, but when you compare with Jiu-Jitsu, do you think that one is better than the other, or think more like complementary?
No, it's different because the Krav Maga we teach the soldier. Tomer will talk about this because he teach 3 years in the army. Krav Maga. Krav Maga, you teach the guy to kill the other guy or to defend yourself. It's different. You take a knife, you take a gun. It's different. Jiu-Jitsu is a lifestyle. It's a sport. If you do jiu-jitsu, you do to all your life. Krav Maga is to kill the guy or defend yourself. It's total different. Like you say, what is better, soccer or tennis? The two is ball, but it's different sport. You understand? No, it's
Well,
really it's
because you can
different.
argue that the Gracie family started jiu-jitsu saying that it was a self-defense type of sport. So when you talk about self-defense, and there is actually a lot of Gracie that teach jiu-jitsu as a self-defense mechanism, right?
Yes, I see this a lot, but I believe if you do any sport, even if you do boxing or wrestling, you can defend yourself against one guy who don't do sport. But Krav Maga gonna give you to a regular guy who gonna do Krav Maga how to go out from self defense, to go out to survive, to attack one guy. But if you put someone which is a champion, who is a black belt, who is a super athlete, sure you're gonna beat one guy who train 2 times per week a Krav Maga. It's even not fair. You
Yeah.
understand?
Toma,
What
what's
do you
your
think?
take on that?
Tell them.
Yeah, I mean, Amir kind of sums it up pretty well. I mean, if you take a Krav Maga expert against like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and you put them in a street fight, then maybe the argument will be a bit different. But of course, when you take like a amateur Krav Maga, like the one who do like twice a week, then how good can you be when you train twice a week for a year? Against like a professional martial artist. Martial art at the end of the day, it's a martial art. But Krav Maga, if you get good at it, it's basically kind of like the MMA of self-defense. Kind of like their whole goal is primarily focus on self-defense in a street slash a survival match.
Hmm.
Whether it's by using the tools around you, whether it will be like pencils or the chairs in a bar or glasses or stuff that you don't take into consideration when you train a traditional martial art with rules,
Right, right.
right? But again, most of the people who go and learn Krav Maga do it for fun. They do it because they want to learn self-defense, but they also want to do some conditioning, some sport, and then it becomes a sport for everything.
Does Krav Maga training for regular people, do they also do the similar of roles? Because in martial arts, not all martial arts they do sparring, right? Like in judo you do randori, so it's a live sparring. In jiu-jitsu you
Yeah.
do rolling, which is a live sparring. You are actually doing the thing. In Krav Maga, do you have the same experience of doing live sparring?
A good school of Krav Maga will incorporate, some stand-up training, like regular boxing classes or Muay Thai classes, and some ground fighting like Jiu-Jitsu and they also will focus their like self-defense as a whole, right? So they will do. I know some school they will do like knife simulation on the ground.
Mm.
Like when you get attacked on the ground, they have like mask and they have some protection gear, and they will do like light sparring or some scenarios like we do in the army. But you wouldn't fight like with two
Yeah.
knives like in a movie, right? So you would focus on building skills as a stand-up game like boxing, and then some ground game in jiu-jitsu, and then incorporate all of these into the self-defense scenario that you're working on the same
Eh,
week. Let's say like two attackers or a bar fight or knife defense.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I believe that the other thing that Krav Maga training, I mean, a good school will teach you is like, environment awareness,
Right.
understanding the things around you, and give you more perception of dangers. I think that this is the another difference, correct?
Right. Right. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of ingredients that you don't see in other martial arts that you see in a Krav Maga classes, like you said, whether it will be, using your voice, to shout for help, or, using the environment to run away, or to use it into your advantage, like, throwing sand into someone's eyes, or throwing your watch or your bag into someone's face and then run away. It's stuff that it's not a technique,
Mm-hmm.
but it's tactic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's the best technique.
Yeah.
If you're in a fight, don't fight.
A survival technique
This
is
is
a
the best.
survival technique.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the best survive technique.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Next time that I go to Israel, I want to try Krav Maga for sure because
No problem. I take you to a lot of place. No problem. Because one of the main big masters of Krav Maga is one of my students, so I can take you to do a private class with him or everything what you need.
nice. Thank you. And Krav Maga doesn't really have a rank like you just have belts. Krav Maga, you don't have ranks, do you?
I
No, no,
think
I
they
think
have some, yeah,
you have
you
a
have
rank.
schools that do ranks.
Like
Yeah,
with
but
belts, like black belt in Krav Maga, is that a thing?
Yes, yes, yes. I see
yes,
some.
I think they call it expert one or expert two. They have like a different system for it.
Mm.
Like expert one is like first degree black belt.
And you said you talk about the fact that they use this in the army. You don't do
Yes.
jujitsu in the army?
For fun, you do. Yeah, for fun. Like
It's
as
a
a
hobby.
yeah, as a hobby, like when you do weightlifting, you have some jujitsu classes for the fighters, but not as a professional.
You
Like
don't
for
want
the
to go to the
partner,
ground in the army. You're
yeah.
gonna die.
That's a excellent point.
Jiu-jitsu doesn't work when you have the vest and you have the gun on you and you have everything, the helmet and all the protection
Maybe
equipment.
judo will work because it will throw the guy on the floor. No.
When you have like a 7 kilo vest on you with with all the magazines and the
Yeah.
guns and the knives, the helmet, then a lot of those stuff goes out of the window because you're gonna lose your balance really quick. So you use your weapon as a cold weapon, your firearm. I mean, you use your kicks or to keep the distance. There's a lot of stuff that you use, but I wouldn't recommend anyone to go to the ground unless I need to um, sustain a suspect or something like that. And still, you're gonna use a bunch of guys. It's never like 1v1.
Hmm.
You know, when you want to control like an insane or like a drugged up terrorist, then it will take more than one guy
Yeah.
to enforce stuff on one
Yeah.
guy, right? So you usually have like two guys aiming at him, and then one guy that will, you know, um, sh- sh- instruct him what to do in order to not die, and then get him into handcuff. There's a like a protocol for how to do that.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and that's why I think, as you said, Krav Maga is way more effective
Exactly.
for soldiers uh, that have to deal with those type of situations for sure. No, that's thanks for the clarification, and definitely looking forward to visit Israel again and try out. Amir, you said that you come into Dallas for the Dallas Open, is right?
Yeah, we come to Dallas Open with some of my guys. So I think it's a good time to see my guys in action.
And
I
you're gonna
bring
be
Juvenile.
coaching or you're gonna compete also?
No, no, I'm gonna be coach. Maybe I compete. Maybe I'm already master four, so maybe I will compete. But
I'll
I
be
have
Master
been
Five next year. I'm old.
old people, huh? You. S- So we need. I believe it's good for you to come to see my guys because I bring juvenile, and I bring a purple belt, brown belt, and even a black belt adults. So you're gonna see the Israeli team in action, and I believe we're gonna do a good result.
Yeah, no, definitely. If I'm in Tao, I'm definitely going there to see. I'm not sure if I'll compete, but I'll definitely gonna watch because it's actually
Let's uh, let's we do some trend together, and we're gonna meet and go to eat something good in Dallas.
yes, absolutely. It'll be
Oh,
fun for sure.
okay.
Guys, thank you very much for your time. It was such a great conversation. Thank you for taking the time to join. Toda rabah for both of you.
Mm.
And
Thank you so much.
I hope to see you in Dallas, Amir. You're not coming, right, Tom? Are you?
No, I'm staying here. I'm running the classes.
Okay, cool. So maybe next time when I'm in Israel, we can definitely meet. because I really miss all my friends in Israel, and most importantly, I miss a lot of the food because I love.
I need to take you when you arrive to Israel. Me and Tomer will take you to some special food, man. Crazy food, crazy. I'm gonna take you to a meat place, to hummus
Oh,
place,
hummus,
all
Jesus
the best
Christ, it's the
place.
best hummus on earth. I'll tell you, one of the best hummus that I ever had when I went to Israel was in Nazareth, because I went to Nazareth and I had one of the best pita with hummus there. It was really good.
You will
Yeah.
see when you come. You will see. You come 85 kilo. I bring you 94.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That's a wrap for today's episode. Stay tuned. We have much more to come.